but out of conviction that the country and the world deserves a better place. Mine is to thank my chairman at the commission and to wish him all the best. I can't wait also to read this book. As a young person, we will learn from you. So thank you so much and have a lovely evening.
Thank you very much, Asha. MC, you want to changamsha kidogo?
Yes. Asante sana. Mheshimiwa, thank you so much. And to our excellencies who've spoken and wengine wengi. Just a little bit of interlude from Bana Mazembe kidogo tu changamke kidogo tu, and then we'll go to the final session of our speeches today. Asante sana. Thank you, Mheshimiwa. Asante. Ladies and gentlemen, Bana Mazembe tafadhali. Asante sana. Thank you so much. Asanteni sana kwa wageni, distinguished guests, excellencies. We are now coming to the final session of our speeches, and then we'll get to the grand launch, and then we'll celebrate together. Asante sana. Nataka sasa, mabibi na mabwana, munisaidie tumkaribishe the man of the moment, the former Attorney General, Speaker Emeritus of the National Assembly, Mheshimiwa J.B. Muturi. Let's now hear from him what inspired him to write this beautiful memoir that he's launching here today. Makofi kwake tafadhali. Asante.
Thank you, MC. Your Excellency, the Honorable Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, Your Excellency, the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, Honorable Eugene Wamalwa, my brother Dr. Fred Matiang'i, members of Parliament here present, both current and former, friends, government officials that may be present, colleagues, friends of friends, ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to have you all here today for the launch of my book, The Fight for Honor. It's a good thing to have friends among the guests here to hear me speak and to share in the celebration of this milestone. Let me say, I'm happy I've told my story as candidly as I could. I hope you will enjoy reading it and that it will inspire you to help me in my mission of building honest institutions in Kenya. Thank you for making the time. And as I said earlier, this being a Friday, I'm sure you'd rather be somewhere else, probably partaking of tea or uji or many other broths. As my good friend, the former president, who has written the foreword in this book, these days often refers to some of the beverages that people take on Friday evenings. This launch is also a milestone for political leadership and political memory making in Kenya. I hope more of us are here, and even those who are not will get the time to pen your memoirs and autobiographies to give the next generation intellectual grounding on how to do things and how not to do things. I appreciate each and every one of you who has bought the book, and special thanks the lawyers, the researchers, the think tanks. Thank you very much. You bought the book. Yes. You read the book. I really love to know what feedback you have for me. This will not put me in a better position to improve in any future editions. So please don't be shy in your reviews. You already had Senator Lene Kifuti challenging me to proceed to begin doing another one. When this book came out, a lot of people, especially those from the political class, were very, very afraid. They thought and put their names down and exposed them. You know, when you are the Attorney General, you know very, very many secrets. I can tell you without fear of any contradiction that the stories I've written about my time in Parliament, my time in the Cabinet, and my time at the State Law Office are things that all happened. There's quite a lot that I didn't put in the book also. There is only so much one can say in a book that is about 450 pages. This book is really a moment of personal reflection about my time in these important offices. To my friends from campus, normally call ourselves the class of 81, I know you remember that day when we met in 2021 at my place. We sat, we broke bread, we ate some nyama choma, had a lot of uji and tea, and danced. And I also told you that I was writing a book, and you thought it was a joke. Here it is now. It's taken some time, and it's quite a lot of work turning rough thoughts into readable book. That's so far as the promise of being a good seller. There are many themes in the book, but there are five ones that I would like to speak about. In the first chapter, I talk about my upbringing. It's just a reminder that in my life, those early formative years shaped who I became. Very soon I'll be 70 years. There are people who help you turn out the way you are, and those people are unforgettable. I speak about my high school head teacher. I speak also about my primary school teacher, one Mr. Lincoln Njeru, who taught us the power of handwriting and how to write well, how to write legibly, that has stuck with me. And although it's many years now, I may not claim to write as legibly as I used to do those years. I also write about people who taught me values and how not to take shortcuts. Yes, I gambled in high school. I fought with teachers to run plays. I was not a model student in that sense. And I think that is why I learned my lessons at Kangaroo School. Next, I tell the story of the university years. I never at university imagined I would turn out to be a politician, a speaker, an attorney general, and a cabinet secretary. Life worked out that way as it did. I even wanted to be the president of Kenya just the other day. And here I am telling you about it. Indeed, the party I lead, the Democratic Party, has in its constitution that the party leader is always, invariably, the presidential candidate of the party in any general election, unless a party enters into a coalition agreement with other parties. I studied law and worked in the judiciary. I moved around the country, understanding the law, seeing how justice is done and not done in some instances. These days, I see lawyers complaining about delayed cases and judges complaining that they are overwhelmed. And in my days as a magistrate, I would get to the office very early and made sure that I did not have much on my entry. And even new lawyers reduce the games that you play on people to delay cases whenever you appeared before me. The weaknesses in the criminal justice system are well documented, but we can expedite the delivery of justice and make this country indeed and truly a country of the rule of law. It is doable. We probably need to look at our work ethics as people serving Kenyans. Kenyans need speedy justice. Can you imagine somebody fighting a case for 20 plus years or even 30 years? And this is not a story. There's a case I dealt with that stuck in the courts for years after I left. I'm not even too sure that it has ever been resolved to date. I also write about leadership culture in Kenya. The lowest point in my career was the frame-ups when I was in the judiciary. I write all about it. And I learned that in leadership and in politics, the backstabbing never stops. The backstabbing never stops. In the judiciary, in politics, dealing with KANU, Jubilee, and even now, Kenya Kwanza. It was constant backstabbing. Indeed, the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua has just alluded to some of those instances. Fitina mingi. A lot of snakes, hypocrites. Yes, you know them. I hope more colleagues can tell their stories. Labda tukianza na Rigiji. Stories would be amazing about what I talk about: hypocrisy, backstabbing, hypocrites all over, conmen, fitina mingi. I also write about the legislature, the legislative politics, and the Parliament of Kenya. The Honorable Amin Abdallah alluded to this. As the first speaker under the 2010 Constitution, setting up all those structures, you learn a lot about change management. I write about what my friends in the media called the supremacy wars, the Senate versus the National Assembly. Some people think that the fights were personal. No, The issues we were fighting about, like the division of revenue laws, are still there. I say in the book, unless the Constitution is amended to better define the roles of the two houses with regard to the budget-making process, the fights will continue regardless of the many advisory opinions that may come from the Supreme Court. I write about the Constituency Development Fund, now called the National Government Constituency Development Fund. I say it in the book that this fund needs to go. Members of Parliament here present, please don't start throwing stones at me. I'm just saying what I believe in. I've given reasons. With the devolution, we need to get serious. I don't like it when I see many of my governor friends going to State House to, in quotes, beg for development, close the quotes. Look at the Constitution. You need to negotiate your pound of fresh. When you sit in the summit, chaired by the president, and at the IBEC, those are the forums that we have to discuss and debate issues about what resources need to go to the counties. Don't come to Nairobi to beg the president for development. The more you beg, the more you are entrenching the culture of an imperial presidency. And that we must appreciate has been done away with in our 2010 Constitution. So governors, please, stop this habit. You are taking the country back to the era beyond 2010. One of the many, of course, many of you will buy this book because I write boldly about my time as Attorney General and as a Cabinet Secretary. I know some of you are waiting to hear the stories I've told about the current administration of William Ruto. Well, these days he has many names: Kasongo, Kaongo, Githinji, et al. Many names. It is one of the worst decisions I made working with William Ruto. I thought I could infuse change from within, but I realized that the fish rots from the head. My friends in Tanzania say, siku zote ng'ombe anayechelewesha msafara ni ng'ombe aliye mbele, lakini ule ng'ombe anapigwa ni ule yuko nyuma na ndiye anapiga kelele. If this country is to progress, we need to deal with the leadership at the top. We keep saying one term, and we mean it. This isn't personal, but objectively speaking, for a person who talks a big game but does the opposite, it is really disheartening. There's a saying, a quote, "Who are worse than murderers and pretenders?" There's also something about hypocrites. And I must warn you about manufacturing crises. Every time you see our president manufacturing a crisis, just know he wants to eat. Just this week, we heard him talking about power rationing when the bulk of electricity is geothermal, or rebuilding the airport. You must have noticed that he's even costing the airport to the tune of 200 billion. Never mind, he was speaking in a foreign land, never accompanied by any engineer, any architect, any QS to give him these figures. He merely jumped at the figure of 200 billion. He would assign a value to a project just from thin air. I talk about this through the Kedong Ranch. The Honorable Rigathi Gachagua has just alluded to it. And the multi-billion tender, which I refuse to sign, when they tried cornering me at the airport in Dubai. You do not, on one hand, collect hundreds of billions of shillings and then make the government borrow its own money. And then you go to international fora and complain. Indeed, it reminds me of the remarks by many years ago by the late Fidel Castro, who was saying that history will absorb me. There are also moments when he manifestly flouted the law, and I told him as much. The English say, you cannot lie down with dogs and not come up with fleas. I just want to say that that might be true because I have my scars. And lastly, I have to alert you to the rule of law, the human rights abuses, the extrajudicial killings, abductions, and all that. You do not import mercenaries to conduct human rights abuses in your country or subcontract reprisals to foreign countries or gaslight your own people for calling you out. You do not run an abduction squad in your own country. These are things we need to deal with. Finally, I explore my drama, my dreams. What future do we want? What future do you want for your children? Do you want to see them despondent, being killed in the streets, being abducted in broad daylight, being gaslit for fighting for their rights? When I worked with this government, I thought we were issue-based. But now, tribalism and corruption is on the up. I believe in the rule of law and a government that has respect and treats Kenyans with dignity. If I keep talking, I'll be reading the book for you. I don't want to spoil it for you. Read it. Make up your own mind about the book, the content, and about me. And then decide what you can do about it. I hope you come to the conclusion which my good friend, Honorable Wamalwa, has said, one term. That we need to chart a new path and a new direction in this country. You read it, enjoy it, and I hope you buy some copies for your other friends and also for libraries in your locations. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to me. And I conclude by saying that I am extremely happy that our good friends from the Frederick Newman Foundation, Judy Kaberia, is also with us. I know at the foundation they do a lot of governance issues, just like several other foundations do. Thank you, Judy, for standing with us. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for having to read this because I wanted to make sure that I make every point that I intended to make. With those many remarks, it's now my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome on stage our chief guest, sorry, I'm also told that my very good friend, other very good friends as well, have arrived. The Honorable James Gakuya, the member for Embakasi North. Karibu sana, my brother. And my young son, the Honorable Getonga Mokonji, the member of parliament for Manyata in Embu. Huyu ni kijana yangu. Thank you very much, Mukunji, for gracing this occasion. Asante sana. And I hope I have not forgotten to recognize, is that Judy? And also somebody I work with at the People's Restorative Justice Commission, Professor Friend Ogola. He just arrived from the US where he took his presidential campaigns. Karibu sana, Professor. Thank you. I know you just arrived this afternoon. Also, let me recognize the presence of Judy Sijeni, Ambassador. Wakili Eunice Lumalas. And I hope I've been able to recognize each and every other. But anyhow, my good friend Olekenta is here. Wacha tusikize our chief guest, His Excellency Dr. Stephen Kalonzo wa Musyoka is our chief guest at this launch. You will make the final remarks.
Thank you. Thank you. A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, my brothers, Rigathi, the second Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. My friend Eugene Wamalwa, the German name I skipped purposely. Our brother Fred Matiang'i, and all of you distinguished friends. You see now, Fred, you introduced some people you came with, or they brought themselves from Jubilee. And because you did that, I received a request, now recognized patriotic front leaders who are here. And I think it is inappropriate because some of them have already been recognized by the man of the moment. But be that as it may, I think I saw some people are with me in Kisumu, in Jaramogi something, right? Kago Kajaramogi. I saw Mukunji there with me and Cicely, and even those ambassadors, are they Sijeni, and I think Lumalas was there. Ndegwa Njiru was there. Did I see Ndegwa Njiru? He was there. Ben Momanyi, I saw you. Ben Momanyi was there. Mwana Mule. Who else am I forgetting? Please just stand so I can recognize you. So you don't take Senator Manzo, you are not there. But he should have been there. I think he thought he should have been there, and others. So I'm not able to see who is right at the back. Or is it Wakili Boniface? No. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to do a very simple thing, and that is to launch this book. I asked myself, JB, why did you make me the chief guest? Is it because you thought I should buy very many books tonight and to give out there? Or is it because I may have written an autobiography for myself, and the title of which is Against All Odds, and which is due for revision? Or is it because I'm older than you? I think it's because of the latter. That I realize this guy is 3 years younger than me, and he's from my neighborhood. I don't know why Brother Rigathi claims Muturi for his own kinsmanship. Because if you listen to JB speak Kikamba, he speaks without an accent. Even the way he pronounced my name before I came here, that's not the normal way you pronounce my name, because he is fluent. And then his home is near Ishara. From Kanyambora, where Lenny and him come from, to Sekuru is actually just less than maybe 30 kilometers. Now from there to Rigiji's place is very far. So we share in, but I heard Rigiji make some very interesting distinction, that him is a brother and I'm a cousin. That, imagine Lenny and JB is brothers, but I am Rigiji's cousin. But we all felt that anybody who is feeling the weight of misrule, over taxation, is actually a cousin. I think that is why JB asked me to come and really nail it for him. JB, you're a very frank person. And allow me to tell you that Uhuru Kenyatta should have been here. But as you asked me to mention that he will not make it, I remember when we are reviewing the possibility of coming tonight, you told me you suspect if Uhuru Kenyatta had read the book completely, he may not have signed the foreword. But I think he did. And he makes some wonderful remarks about who you are. When I saw Fred Matiang'i, I asked him, have you read the book? Because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually now marketing this book for you. My brother, my younger brother, JB, as we call you. Because out there, we are here launching a book written by a stickler, not only for the rule of law, but one who believes in the separation of powers. He has lived, he has served in both the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. One of our foremost statesmen, I dare say without any hesitation, and one who is also fearless. Even as we sat there with JB, I told him, do you remember this friend who is running out of the country, is all over the place, and is trying to tell JB and I to mention that somebody at the very high level is already received a $10 million bribe to bring in rice from Pakistan or wherever. That is JB Muturi. And so I feel truly honored to associate myself with you, and also a party leader of Democratic Party. The founding Kiongozi, as you all know, was a gentleman I was privileged to serve under as his vice president. Not that he appointed me, but I negotiated. No, I learned a lesson in life. And it's somebody, when we went, a lot of you may not know, I was also deputy speaker one time, between the years 1989 to 1992. And then I went for an IPU conference, somewhere I think in Togo. And we wanted the late Joseph Muliro. How many of you remember Joseph Muliro? He was assistant minister one time for foreign affairs. And we wanted him to join the 9-member committee of parliamentarians from all over the world dealing with matters to do with climate change. And so we had some formidable challenges from that region, some of them claiming authority of their speakers. And I coined afresh. I said, in business, you don't get what you deserve. That is generally said. You get what you negotiate. So I learned that and applied it with President Kibaki. We negotiated my being 10th vice president. But that is part of the history. But I also learned another useful tactic. And I think that is what this Kenya Kwanza administration has been applying. And that was that in order to get Joe Muliro appointed as a member of the IPU Committee of Parliamentarians on Climate Change, we realized that our competitors had no time for us, and so they didn't care about the qualities, the qualifications of Joe Muliro. So I said, as the leader of delegation, because as Deputy Speaker, we'll apply the following formulation. If you cannot really dazzle them with brilliance, then baffle them with bullshit. There's a lot of bullshitting around. And because that is what really is holding this country at ransom. And it's all written and elaborated under this wonderful, wonderful work of art, as Rigathi put it. First of all, JB is summoned by J. Muturi, who wants a meeting of the Speaker of the National Assembly, the 11th edition, and calls him and say, JB, can you come to State House tomorrow? He didn't say, he said, what time is the President? And then he says, you contact Jay, you'll arrange the logistics and the time. So JB shows up, the Speaker of the National Assembly. And whom does he find? He finds Fred Matiang'i, Interior. And he also finds Kibicho, Garanja Kibicho, the PS. It's all there, Fred. That's why I said, if you read it, you have to really know that we are dealing with a very honest person in the tradition of the truthful man. And he says it there. He says he told President Uhuru Kenyatta, you cannot do this. I am the Speaker of Parliament. There is a principle of separation of powers. And he called Kibicho and Fred some very nice names there, because he was angry with what he thought was an aggression on the principle of separation of powers. He does the same, and of course others also at the time in the book, if you read, where, for example, you see, we are making him look like a wonderful person, but the human being in JB had to face the role of Mr. Njeru. Now, in that we share. When I was in Meru School in Form 5 and 6, our headmaster was Mr. Njeru, who once became the Director of Education. And one time and I think that's why I sharpened my negotiation skills at Form 6, because we went on strike, and Mr. Njeru said, the Form 6, in all one accord, have decided to fail. We actually turned out that time in Meru School, the class of 1973, as number 4 in the country, because we were refusing to eat stuff we were calling fufu. But we had given Mr. Njeru a nickname of Mr. Amin. We call him Id Amin because the way he used to walk. And he was, students always deal with their head teachers. Now, Mr. J.B. Njeru accused him of teasing girls and pinching them. I don't know, JB, in your years at the university, or before you went to university, if that was your characteristic. These days it can constitute a very serious offense, for which men actually get impeached, not in Kenya, in other places of the world. So he lays it bare, including the role he had with his Mbere clansman who spoke here, Lenny Kivuti. Serious rivalry at their level. One region or whatever. He had actually also changed his name. Read that book. It's an amazing work of art. But he actually then says there, I will not sign it. That was JB. It is out there. And they say, release my son. We have seen the story of Leslie. So JB, when you write your next book, and I want to agree with my brother Rigathi, let us go through this season, because it's a very, very important season, pregnant with all types of expectation, And when, God willing, we get to Canaan, you will then have time to read and, to write a wonderful thing. I want to read a book written by Rigathi, because he has written a very nice chapter already. He has seen it all. He paid his brother in kind. I don't know how many deputy presidents world over would be able to stand up and get a president to go down when he's going to announce the names. And he actually gets them. That is the art of negotiation and also transparency. If indeed we are a government or a country that believes in the rule of law and democracy, then we have to be like Rigathi. I just come from Luo Nyanza. And please don't ask me where I got the 100 cows from. That's my own secret. Some think I keep a lot of cows. It is true. In addition to growing green grams, we call them dengu, we also keep some cows. And we went out there, and I forgot to salute the champion of devolution, certainly a champion of democracy, the late Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. I just failed to salute because I was wearing Mukunju, remember, I was looking like you today. I really miss out just to salute him and to say the struggle continues, la lucha continua. I wrote that in my remarks and bidding him farewell. But ladies and gentlemen, this is a country you all love. And this is a country we know at a critical time like this, if we buckle, if we falter, then it is like what Shakespeare said, the rest of the voyage is really taken. If we don't take this high tide, then the rest of our lives will be lived in mystery. And the lives of Kenyans will not be exactly what J.B. Muturi would have wanted. By laying things bare, telling it as it is, and I have read also as a senior counsel, I can tell you none of that stuff is actionable. Nobody will sue you, because I think you took that into account. But you also put it openly. So I'm so honored to be able to launch this book. And the fight, not just for democracy, the fight for order in our country. And of course, if you know, in the tradition of the British speakership, I really like to see there's a speaker who was presiding of, I think, impeachment of one of those prime ministers. And I said, as many as of that opinion say aye, aye. As many as the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it, the ayes have it. Unlock. Unlock is a very interesting situation. Can be my classmate also, remember, he was a deputy speaker in the Senate. That order for our country is really what is critical at this time. And I want to urge of all of us as we read this book to unlock our country, to realize that we cannot live in a country that believes in abducting his own children. And I think in one, he quotes that proverb, JB, in one of quoting that African proverb, when an hyena wants to eat his children, the hyena looks at them and says, "You smell like a goat." We must do whatever it takes. We do not have another time or anything to squander. We have a country literally to liberate and to live the spirit of the young Kenyans who have become a phenomenon world over. Who would have imagined that the very suave Tanzanians, suave, Watanzania wanasema, badala one of them is said to have come through Isabenian border up to Nakuru, akasema, and I must conclude, akasema kwa hoteli moja pale owned by a cousin wa Rigathi, akasema naomba chai. Akamwangalia Kasema kampatia kikombe kimoja na siagi, mkate wa siagi. Tanzania suave kapatiwa. Kamaliza, Mtanzania alikuwa na njaa kidogo. Kasema naomba uniongezee. Watu wote na kama sikiza bwana. Hapa kuna cha bure. Hapa kuomba uombaji ni kula hapa na kulipa. Hakuna cha kuomba hapa. The suave Tanzanians thinking the Kenyan Gen Zs were from Mars. And you see, they even now, unfortunately, arrest Kenyans who are working ordinarily kwa mahoteli, and they think sasa hawa, they are part of, these are the people who have awakened. The Gen Zs everywhere have woken up because they are demanding transparency. Just like JB Muturi has said it, put it so clearly, that they, not just in Tanzania, in Madagascar. Did you not see Sheikh Hasina, the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, escape by helicopter to India? Because the Kenyan Gen Zs had said, I've actually said that example, of course recently in Nepal and other places. We are living in very interesting times. Times that if we don't catch up with the aspirations of the young people who are demanding change and demanding it immediately, demanding transparency in leadership, demanding good order, the fight for order. Maybe, ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask us to grasp, to take hold of this moment and change our country for good forever. Thank you so much, JB. Congratulations. If I say the fight for order, I will add Joey. Joey. Yeah, I know buffaloes. I'm a buffalo soldier. I hope if I've annoyed you, I do not ask for your forgiveness. In the spirit of JB. Asanteni sana. So we're happy to launch this book. And please read it. And if you find it affects you, that is JB for you. So we're happy to have you. Can I now move? Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for His Excellency, the Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka. Thank you so much. Let me invite you to the booth where we're going to be launching the book officially. May I also invite all the excellencies to come? Sorry. Sorry. Let's give the Excellency Rigathi Gachagua just a moment before we launch officially the book.
Kuna kitu moja nimesahau. The nickname ya JB Muturi, he is also called Anthony Njeru. Do I tell you how the name was arrived at? You heard me the other day crying at Thika Greens addressing lawyers about the quality of leaders from my region. You heard me cry and pleading with lawyers to save my community by electing leaders of high quality and integrity. So these men, we went for a function in Embu. A senator had been elected in Embu, in his party. When he rose to speak, this man was an Attorney General. He who didn't know what is Attorney General, he said, Mr. Anthony Njeru. That is the kind of trouble me and my region are in.
Asante sana, Your Excellency. Thank you so much. A round of applause for Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua. May I invite our Please, for the rest of us, please be seated because the photographers would like to capture the picture. Your Excellencies, may I call you here? The chief guest, together with His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, Mheshimiwa Matiang'i, Mheshimiwa Eugene Wamalwa, Madam Asha, tafadhali njoo. Mheshimiwa, just to guide you, all you need to do is just cut the ribbon and the rest is automatic. But be careful, we'll have pirates. I'll give you 5. 5 going down.
At the count of 5.
Going down.
We all count together. 5.
4, 3, 2, 1, go. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Makofi, Makofi, Makofi. There you have it. The fight for order officially launched. Bwana Mazengo. Tuendelee kidogo na muziki hapo DJ. Asante sana. Asante sana. Naomba ushers tupatieni vitabu. Principals waweze kuchika vitabu for the photograph tafadhali. Tuwapatie principal.